What the city is talking about. This is Montreal Now on News Talk Radio, CJAD 800.
James Mennie of the Gazette. Hello, James. I don't think we've worked together since last summer.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, it was some kind of vacation / statutory holiday thing that was going on. I think it was you and Dan actually, but so yeah, maybe last summer.
Yeah, good.
But isn't it funny how nothing changes? Isn't it funny how everything remains so ridiculously stupidly crazy?
Yeah, well,
there are like cases off the streets.
We are in Montreal after all, and
Yeah, I know.
What do we expect?
Still the best news town. There's a lot of things no longer best at, but it's still the best news town in North America as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I think you're right. Let's talk politics first off. This party very, very desperately trying to move on. Nothing to see here. No, no comments about racism need further discussion.
It's kind of funny though because we're talking about Quebec Solidaire folks and the controversy created by l'affaire Bouazzi. It was Haroun Bouazzi is an MMA for Quebec Solidaire. And he set off some fireworks last Thursday. He was accused of calling the members of the National Assembly racist and practicing racism. I said it then, Trudy, and I'll say it now. I have found zero evidence anywhere he has said that. He did say something very specific. He did say that every day he goes in the National Assembly and he sees this other constructed, this other who is Maghrebin, this other who is black, this other, who has customs that are different from the mainstream and by definition are inferior. Now, if somebody decided to conclude that was an accusation of racism or whatever, what I found fascinating is the next day he said, I accuse no one of racism. And of course, the biggest reaction was from the CAQ and the Parti Québécois, and indeed, Paul Saint-Pierre Plamondon, leader of the PQ, it's like every 12 minutes on the weekend, he was putting up some new headline about how QS didn't get it and how they were basically endorsing what he had to say. And they almost did endorse what he had to say. And then I guess there was a lot of backrooms negotiations. But here's the thing. Did he do the right thing? Will there be any fallout to l'affaire Bouazzi? And I'll tell you, Trudy, let's see how soon the next Quebec politician, I'll be open-minded to say from any party, turns around and blames immigrants for anything, because that's exactly what he's complaining about. That is exactly something I've been complaining about on this show for months. And it's something that people like François Legault and people like Paul Saint-Pierre Plamondon have been doing quite shamelessly. So, and things are accelerating. Things are reaching an almost fever pitch. And I think, I said then and I'll say again, that was a very dangerous game they're playing. So if this got short-circuited this weekend, if everybody takes a deep breath and shuts up for a while, as we say in these parts, tant mieux.
Yeah, well, I'm with you. That othering trend is a little, always pointing the finger elsewhere because it's politically expedient. Just to throw a curveball at you, something else that happened over the weekend, you brought up the Parti Québécois. The Parti Québécois is saying Anglo should love its policies. It's going to be so good.
Yeah, I know.
The Parti Québécois government for Anglos recognizing Anglophone rights.
Yeah, isn't that sweet?
Ah.
You know what's crazy is like, and when I saw that story, I began doing the math. By this time next year, less 3 days, it will have been 50 years since the Parti Québécois was first elected to government. I have dealt with this rubbish all my life. I have dealt with the smoke and mirrors show. This we love you until we can figure out a way to get rid of you. We Quebec is open to all Quebecers depending on who we determine Quebecers to be. They have kept on changing their vernacular over the years, over the decades. The first thing when I hear Paul Saint-Pierre Plamondon engaging in this, oh, don't worry, Anglos, everything's going to be fine. You're going to love what we're doing. And I've used this image before on the show, Trudy, and I'll use it again because maybe I think you'll appreciate it even more. Have you ever seen Mars Attacks, the movie Mars Attacks?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so remember how the Martians keep saying, we love you, come here, and when you came here, they just disintegrate you?
Yeah.
That's pretty much the approach that PQ has dealing with Anglos, right? It's like, no, we love it, and then we're going to get rid of all your stuff.
We're going to have to break out the yodeling and make their heads explode.
Exactly. Get some Boxcar Willie or Slim Whitman or whoever it was. But the fact is, it doesn't work anymore, and no one's believing it. And this idea that, don't worry, everything's going to be fine. Excuse me. Monsieur Saint-Pierre Plamondon is going to be in a very difficult position in 2026 because he's got to back up his pledge to hold a first-term referendum. Everything says this will be impossible. If he doesn't, he's going to lose big time. Everything says he needs to find an out, maybe by portraying himself and his party as being, the girlfriends of the English Quebec. Everything's going to be fine. I think that train's left the station, frankly, and I just wish Paul Saint-Pierre Plamondon, who has really shown himself on certain things to be a very effective leader, a very effective politician, would stick to that and stop trying to, appeal, stop trying to steal the base from the CAQ, the rural, uneducated, perpetually frightened base from the Coalition Avenir Québec. You're not going to get them. The idea is to branch out and by backing up your suggestions with actual actions. Right now, an Anglophone has absolutely zero reason, quite frankly, to trust any Quebec politician, given the batting average that these parties have had with Anglos. And no, I'm not whining and then saying, I'm doing okay here. But the fact of the matter is, whenever it became politically convenient and the bus was coming around the corner, Trudy, we were the first ones to get tossed to the curb.
Well, that's
so
true.
You know what? Enough. I know Lucy's holding the football, but I ain't kicking.
But let me. Far be it for me to say anything in defense of the Parti Québécois, but Paul Saint-Pierre Plamondon did, interestingly enough, push back on his own party when at the party convention they quietly made disappear a resolution that would have obliged PQ politicians to answer Anglophone journalists only in French. And he said, "I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. Lévesque didn't do that. From the get-go, Lévesque didn't do that. We've never done that. I'm not going to do that." Are we giving him the credit for that?
I'll give him the credit for that, but I mean, that's like saying, I'm giving him the credit for not setting himself or others on fire while he was doing his job. It was the most, even by PQ standards, it was one of the most profoundly stupid things. That's not the first time they've done this, There have been certain MNAs in the past who have said, this will be my policy. I will not answer questions in English ever at all, even if they're posed to me in English, even though they're fluently bilingual. And then the party just kind of, yanked them a bit and said, let's, stop being so stupid. Because this is it. Right now, I know the polls are good, Trudy, but you know what I know, and the PQ knows that polls can change, as the CAQ discovered to its dismay. And you got to be offering something other than cheap shots. You got to be offering something other than the suspender-snapping populism that really drove François Legault and the Coalition Avenir Québec right off a cliff over the past 6 years. They're done like dinner. And as I say, the question now is, can we limit the amount of damage they seem intent on doing to Quebec before they get tossed out of office in 2026?
I'm going to pick your brain quickly on this because it is going to be related to the question of the day that we're getting to in just a sec, James. Your quick take on, Plan B for the Trump immigration state of emergency.
We don't have one. And then when this guy says, I'm going to use the military to deport 20 million people, he's going to use the military to deport 20 million people. Excuse me. And I think some of them are going to come on this side of the border. So, I think we really do need a plan B. I think we really do need to have some kind of sit-down with whoever it is who's running the U.S. government this week and saying, listen, what are the protocols here? What exactly do you intend to do? Because there, of course, just these headlines are going to spark another wave across the border north. And we're completely unprepared. We just got through saying, listen, we're cutting back on immigration because, all these bad people screwed up my plan for immigration, so I have to cut back on it. In fact, Roxham Road, whatever, it was chaos. And we're in way over our heads. And now it's not that we're in way over our heads. It's almost as if Donald Trump is going to throw us into the deep end of the pool without anything regarding, a float. So, I think somebody, ideally Chrystia Freeland, someone who knows what they're doing, had better sit down with the Americans sooner rather than later and find out just what in the hell is going on in policy
this week.
James Mennie, reporter, columnist, editor at the Montreal Gazette. Thanks for your time, James.
Demain.